What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Fresh Squeezed RC. Today, we're talking drift cars. Now we have a real drift car, rear-wheel drive. You know, I get it all the time. People say that all-wheel drive isn't drifting, it's power sliding. Do what you want. If you want to go sideways, there's multiple ways to do it, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So over here, we have Kyosho Fazer MK2. In the middle, we have the Mst Rmx 2.0. This is a kit. And over here, we have Redcat Thunder Drift. I'm going to talk about what makes each of these cars unique, and then we're going to put them to work and do some drifting, and you can see for yourself how they react. Now, like I said, you can go sideways in a number of different ways and at a number of different price points. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright folks, here we are. Over here we have the Fazer MK2. In the middle we have the Mst Rmx 2.0 kit. And over here we have a Redcat Thunder Drift. Now, like I said, the two outside cars are all-wheel drive. The center car is rear-wheel drive. What should we start with? Let's do the Redcat first. Alright, so the Redcat Thunder Drift. Now, these cars are really affordable. I mean, ready to run with a battery and everything. I think they come in, like $160 range. These are belt drive cars, so it's a little different setup. I mean, belt drive has been around a long time. So we're going to talk about that and talk about what makes, differences between the belt drive and the shaft drive, four-wheel drive cars. This car's wearing an Hpi Mustang Fastback body. As you can see, it's kind of ratty. I went for kind of just an old beater look on it, and I think it turned out pretty good. People really seem to enjoy the videos on Instagram, and y'all are going to see it in action here real quick. Okay, with the body off, you can see, I've got hard drift tires on it. It is a brushed setup. I just used some Velcro to attach the body. A lot of people use magnets. Either one works just fine. I do kind of prefer the Velcro because it seems to keep the body in place a little better if you tap into stuff, which is bound to happen. I think for the money, this is pretty good value. It has aluminum shocks. I mean, it has a bunch of aluminum on the car. Actually, it is brushed, as you're going to find in a lot of cases. And here is where you can see some of the big differences. That belt drive setup. The motor's kind of buried. So this is where things get a little different. So your spur gear turns a cogged pulley, which turns belts, which turns cogged pulleys that are your diffs. And that's how this runs. I will say this, the power comes on really, really smooth with a belt drive setup. I think you probably do lose a little bit of power. And also, obviously you're at some point probably going to have to replace those belts. I've had this thing quite a while and they still look pretty good to me. I've actually not replaced anything on this car except for wheels and tires and the body. You can see the Hexfly Servo tucked in there. I mean, these cars feature metal dog bones. Everything is fully adjustable on them, which is really impressive at this price point, I think. Front and back, metal dog bones, adjustable upper links, adjustable steering links. Pretty nicely set up for what you get, and like I said, I've had absolutely no problems with it, and I'm kind of glad because it honestly looks somewhat like a nightmare to work on, but it does actually drift quite good. So let's move on to the next car. Alright, here we have the Kyosho Fazer MK2. Now this one's got a Pro-Line Trans Am body on it that is heavily modified. I molded in those scoops and made the pipes and blower and all that. And this is modeled and replicated from Ken Block's head mechanics car, which is really awesome because last time I went to the Burnyard, I actually got to meet him and he was extremely stoked on the car. Really loved it. Great guy. Greg's, shout out to you, Greg. Really cool meeting you. Another thing to mention that I think is noteworthy is, on these all-wheel drive cars, I run the cheapest tires possible because you have enough grip, it really doesn't matter. Buy the $8.99 wheels and tires off eBay, you'll slide just fine. You've seen plenty of Fazer videos. This one, like I said, same thing. I'm using Velcro to attach the body. Just kind of easy, and it really stays put. This does have an upgraded drive shaft in it. This is the standard wheelbase model of the Kyosho Fazers. It is shaft driven. I will say that these cars are fantastic all-around cars. They can do anything you want them to do. If you want to drag race or do speed runs or leave it with a stock system in it and put some cheap drift tires on it and slide it around, it does it, and they do it very, very well. They're extremely reliable, and for between $219.99 to $229.99, I think you get a really, really great car here. Never had any real problems with these cars. They come with fantastic looking bodies. Some other features of these cars, you have pretty big shocks on them, kind of like a double shear setup on the arms, which is really nice, really strong. You have your standard plastic tub chassis design. I mean, these are just really, really good cars. They're a lot of fun. Like I said, they can really do it all without having to go crazy and spend $1 trillion on one. You can have a lot of fun with one of these rigs. And they slide just fine. You don't have a ton of steering angle, but like I said, with an all-wheel drive car, it's all about throttle. Like you're really, really, throwing it in there with a lot of throttle application, which you will see here in just a few minutes. So let's move on and talk about. All right, so this is the Mst Rmx 2.0. This is the kit version, which offers some unique upgrades over the ready-to-run version that they sell, which is also really fantastic. I got to drive a couple when I was in California last time, and they really, really work great out of the box if you buy the RTR. I think they're like $350 or so, and that gets you ready to go and ready to slide rear-wheel drive. And like I said, this is the kit, so I chose to outfit this with a Proline Corvette body. I painted it in Spastics green something or other, I think, but I really like the paint color. It's kind of got a nice pearl to it. I don't know if it's coming across on the GoPro or not. On rear drive cars, your wheel and, your tire selection becomes much more important. On the fronts, I'm running some Super G spec tires, and on the back, I just have cheapies on there because my garage floor is kind of rough, and the spec tires wear out fairly quickly on rough surfaces. So for general bashing and stuff, just general sliding around, if you kind of have that grooved pavement, then just go with some cheapies on the back and they'll do you just fine. All right, so now to the good stuff. I'm running a Reefs 422 HD servo in it. I had a 299 in there, and it was just kind of too fast, and I really couldn't get it turned down enough to where I liked it. I mean, it's a really great servo, but I think for as much steering throw as these have, the movement was just a little too quick for me, and the 422 seems to be right on the money. These cars, they're very setup dependent, so you really got to make sure you're dialed in. And I'm not the one to give you those tips because I'm still fairly new to this rear-wheel drive RC drifting stuff. But we'll talk about how mine's outfitted. It has a Sky RC gyro in it, which is not that great. That needs to be upgraded for sure. I'm running Kyosho transmitter and receiver on it. As you can see, it's got a little Shorty 100C 2S pack. I'm running a Tekin Gen 3 8.5 turn brushless censored system in here, and it is smooth as glass. It's really good. I actually got that on trade with my good buddy Idaho RC Dad. So shout out to you, Pete. This system's awesome. The kit version of these, I think it's right around $200, and you can do the math from there. You're looking at quite a bit more money to outfit this. I think in the way that the kit deserves. You don't want to just put some junk electronics in it because this is a kind of a specialized machine, and they make tons of parts for these MSTs. They're really cool. I really, really enjoy it, and I'm having a lot of fun, learning the ins and outs of the whole rear-wheel drive drifting. By now, I'm sure you're tired of hearing me talk about them, and you're ready to see these things in action. So what I'm going to do is kind of do some similar drifts with all three cars, so you can see the way they react and the speeds in which they move. I mean, obviously, the all-wheel drive cars are going to be much faster than the rear-wheel drive cars. That being said, the rear-wheel drive is a more scale speed. So I like the fast-paced all-wheel drive drifting, but I mean, I like to party, so you know what I mean? Rock and roll. Let her rip, tater chip, as they say. now with the Redcat Thunder Drift, again, this is an all-stock setup, stock brush system. Now this is a belt drive car, so you're going to hear a big difference in sound. This runs way quieter. It tends to be a little bit smoother, I feel like. So check this one out. Alright, so with the Phaser Mk2, you're going to see a large difference in speed. Even though this is just a brush system, the all-wheel drive gives it, obviously twice the traction, so the car is at least twice as fast. Check it out. I hope that everyone enjoyed this video and this little drift comparison, and maybe you can decide for yourself which makes the most sense for you. I will say that if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, drop a comment, thumbs up would be great, and I will catch you guys in a few days. Stay rad, my friends.